Hello, Mike Butcher with TechCrunch, and I'm here in the startup stage, Startup Alley, chatting to guests today. And I have here Daniel Ramot from Via, which is a very interesting Uber-like app which gets you around town. Now, Daniel, we were chatting actually just before we came on air about how Via came about, and it's based on a concept of these taxis in Tel Aviv. That's correct.
That's right. It's based on a concept of these shared vans that run routes that parallel the bus lines in Tel Aviv. We have them everywhere. They're ubiquitous. They're very low tech in the sense that they don't use any technology. There's no app to book them, but they're very efficient. You can hop on anywhere, on and off, anywhere you need to get on along the route.
So you and your co-founder came up with the idea of pooling all of those people into an app, into a smart, intelligent routing app where you could literally jump on and off a little bus. But here in New York, you're operating with minivans, or what kind of a car have you got?
So the vast majority of our vehicles are actually large SUVs, so it's a much more premium experience than the experience you might get in Tel Aviv, or we were talking earlier about the African matatus. They're also a similar concept. So we brought this to New York.
More of a premium experience.
That's right. So you've got
it's
the
like
technology.
A luxury bus, isn't
it's
it?
exactly right, like a luxury microbus of sorts.
And so what I was interested in is often when you flip open an Uber app, for instance, and you say, look at Uber Pool, sometimes I'm a little worried about how far away that's going to take me out of my way, just because the other person's going a slightly different direction. But you've managed to route the vehicle on a more intelligent way, haven't you?
Absolutely. So we've invested a tremendous amount of resources in that back end, the routing technology, the matching in real time between the passenger and the vehicle, this idea that we ask you to walk to an optimal pickup location. So we don't pick you up exactly where you are. We direct you to what we call a virtual bus stop where you can wait for the vehicle to show up. So really, if you experience Via here in New York or in Chicago, you'll see it extremely rare for it to take you out of your way in any sort of way. And yet we're able to pool multiple people in real time and reduce the price to just $5 a ride.
But you're only operating in sort of the commuting times, correct?
No, so it operates across the whole day. Actually, Monday through Saturday now. We just announced that we're going to start operating Saturdays as well.
That's a new thing
as of this Saturday, 6 a.m. to midnight every day. And similarly in Chicago. We also have a service, and we're trying to take this very urban service that we have in New York and Chicago and see if it applies to a suburban environment. And we've partnered with Mercedes-Benz, and they're using our technology to operate a service in Orange County in Southern California, of all places, very suburban, to see how that works there.
Isn't it the case, though, with $5, surely you must be running at a loss, because it's a very low amount.
So it's a phenomenal price for the consumer, no question. I can tell you that it very much depends on scale, obviously. If we can get enough people to use the service, then we can achieve actually very good financial results. What we're starting to see in New York is that large parts of our service are very successful. There's still parts where we don't have the penetration. We're still investing in growth, particularly downtown. It's a more recent service in that area. But uptown, we've been operating for over a year. We see excellent results.
And have you had to recruit your own drivers, or are you winning them over from other kind of car sharing apps?
It's both. I'd say primarily it's drivers who've previously driven for other car sharing apps, maybe a little bit disillusioned with the way they're treated there and have come over.
Interesting. You raised about 100 million from Patango, very well-known VC out in Tel Aviv, and you've also raised another 30 million, is that correct?
So we've raised a total to date of just over 100 million. We have another 30 that we've announced that is coming from strategic investors.
Ooh, tell us more, who is it?
So I can't speak to that quite yet, but I hope to be able to talk about it soon.
That's a nice, so why are you only operating in New York and Chicago at the moment? What's the rollout strategy?
What we did is we spent about 2 years really trying to refine this model. As you said, we could run a huge loss at $5 a ride if we don't do it right. And a lot of it was trying to figure out the technology and avoid what you were describing in San Francisco or wherever you take Uber Pool, that you might worry about, well, am I going to get taken out of my way and so forth. And we put a lot of effort into creating the customer support that's required to do this, the routing, the matching in real time, and all that on the back end. And now we've just raised this relatively large round, and we're ready to really roll this out quickly.
And I presume you're going to hit many more cities now.
That's exactly the plan.
What sort of reception have you had from regulators, from city fathers, as it were, the councils?
Yeah, I'd say given some of the experience that other on-demand transportation apps have had, we've seen a really positive reception. I think the idea that you can reduce the number of cars on the road by pulling together a significant number of people.
Yeah.
We actually see the vast majority of our trips are shared, so well over 80, 85, almost 90% of the people who get into a VIA are going to share with at least one person. Most times they're sharing with 3, 4 more people.
And have you thought about turning it into a dating app at all?
So we get some of that, interestingly. I've heard of lots of different members dating. Also, I've heard of a member dating a driver, which I'm not sure is quite right, but as far as the TLC sort of rules.
Tinder for car sharing, perhaps?
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think? Swipe left to turn left.
I've had that suggestion, get out of the car and swipe right or swipe left to select your next date.
And also, I think it's very interesting, but more seriously, it's very interesting how it potentially fits into the vision of a smart city.
Right.
What kind of thinking do you have about on that line?
So of course, everybody's talking about how cities are going to be transforming over the next few years into smarter cities with sensors everywhere. Transportation is obviously a huge part of that. I think for cities to really be smart, they need to provide their residents with a multitude of mobility options that can allow them to get where they need to go in different situations. VIA is a part of that. You have the existing infrastructure of public transit, the bus, the subway, and so forth. You've got the taxis, some cases, hopefully rare, your private car. And VIA fits right into that and complements that entire system.
I love this idea of this virtual bus stop that doesn't exist, but until you walk to it, as it were.
Right.
That means that you're actually routing the riders as well as the driver.
That's
correct?
a great point. That's a great way to think about it. And we route you to a very precise location. So we'll pick you up on the southwest corner of 81st and 2nd in front of the Starbucks.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much, Daniel from VIA.
Thanks.
And now we're going to throw over to Fitz in Startup Alley.